It's fair to say there's never been a gold mine anywhere in the world like Serra Pelada. Just 5 years ago, this gigantic hole in the ground was nothing more than a barren hillside in the middle of the remote Amazon jungle. Today, it's one of the richest square miles on Earth. Five years ago, these miners had never heard of Serra Pelada. They were farm workers, factory hands, nut pickers, rubber gatherers, even the odd lawyer and doctor, you name it. They flocked here from all over Brazil and the rest of South America when they heard the magnetic word gold. You'd reckon that Steven Spielberg and Cecil B. DeMille couldn't get a cast of thousands like this together in a fit. On any one day, there's anything between 40 and 80,000 of these blokes, all digging away feverishly to make this hole in the ground wider and deeper. Meet the man they say started it all, Jose Patosa da Silva. Serra to his mates. Serra was just a penniless farmhand. Then one day, while he was bathing one of his children in a creek, he found the first gold nugget.
600 grams,
the first gold that he found.
That was the first bit that he found.
Serra found more than $500,000 worth of gold before the word got around. Within a few months, thousands of fortune hunters swarmed here to fight for a few square feet of pay dirt.
So what about today? Does he hope that maybe one day he'll make some more, find some more gold, make lots more money? Eh?
O senhor tem esperança?
Tem esperança.
He has hope.
He's going to stay here?
O senhor vai ficar?
Tenho esperança em Deus.
He has hope in God.
To get to this new El Dorado is an adventure in itself. After the long haul to Brazil, there's another 2,000 kilometres north to the mighty Amazon. And after all that, a final hairy light plane flight to a dirt strip literally hacked out of the jungle. The plane is in fact the pack horse of this modern gold rush. At one stage, this bush airport was one of the busiest in Brazil, with more than 100 flights a day. Serra Pelada has its own customs, its own police, its own system of rough justice, and everything is checked with a fine-tooth comb. What are they searching for? Guns coming in and gold being smuggled out.
So they've got no firearms. Is that what he was looking for?
That's what he is.
To all intents and purposes, it's a state within a state, if that's what you could call this ramshackle frontier town. Serra Pelada is pretty much a law unto itself, where booze, gambling, firearms, homosexuals and particularly women are all banned. The only lust allowed here is lust for gold, and the only pleasure, finding the stuff in this amazing man-made hole in the middle of nowhere. But most of these men will leave Serra Pelada as broke as when they came here. They don't own their own claims. They hump these 40-pound bags of dirt out of the pit for a boss who pays them at 10 cents a time and keeps for himself any gold that comes out in the wash. And this is ultimately what it's all about. Every morning the garimperos line up here outside the bank, clutching the results of days or weeks or months of back-breaking work.
He thinks it's about 2 grams.
Yeah, ask him.
$20, would you say?
How much?
About $20.
$20 worth, he thinks. Ask him how long it took him to get that.
Quantos dias trabalhou para isso?
2 dias.
Only about 2 days.
2 days. Does he think he's going to become a millionaire?
Será que dia você acha que vai ficar rico?
No. Okay.
This is where they find out whether they've been slaving away for a few dollars worth of low-grade dust or a chunk of solid gold worth thousands. Up to now, Serra Pelada has produced $500 million worth of gold. That's more than the annual output of all the mines in Australia. Garimperos are still gouging out more than 10 kilos a week, $100,000 worth. And that's on top of whatever they can smuggle out.
1 milhão.
1 million.
You could call this a rocky road to riches. This is the bus service in the nearby town of Maribor. The entire fleet is owned by a former miner who struck a gold seam worth millions. One of his partners was this man, Renzo. He went to Serra Pelada as a doctor, caught gold fever himself, and gave up his practice to scratch dirt.
How much money has Renzo made from the gold that he found at Serra Pelada?
Na época, em dólar, foi $1 milhão.
In dollars at that time was about $1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million.
And his partners, how much did they make?
You sourced.
Bom, teve sócios que conseguiu...
There were some partners that had a
Eles tinham
percentage a little bit higher, and they earned a little bit more or less, $2 million.
In less than a year, each of Renzo's partners became millionaires and escaped from the pit of Serra Pelada to invest their money.
What's he actually done with the money? How has it changed life for he and his family?
Não mudou muito, apenas tranquilizou mais, né?
His life hasn't changed too much. It's just a bit more tranquil,
More tranquil, more comfortable, we
more
would say.
comfortable.
But most of the miners, ants or formigars as they call them in Portuguese, barely earn enough to eat. They break their backs on these treacherous cliffs for a mere $2 or $3 a day. Whatever they did before they came here, these fortune seekers, or maybe they're just wishful thinkers, are now garimperos, prospectors. They all come here for the dream of getting filthy rich overnight. Well, they certainly get filthy. Rich, that's not quite as easy. When they've finished their day's labours, there's not a great deal of action in downtown Serra Pelada. In fact, the only excitement is, of all things, a circus. And it's not the clowns and the acrobats the boys have come to see. The circus women are the only women allowed in town, apart from our interpreter. But if they want any real action, the garimperos have to take a weekend leave pass and head 60 kilometres down the track to a town, well, a place called Kirianopolis. Five years ago, like Serra Pelada, none of this existed. Today there are 60,000 people here, but it's really only a town of stores and whores. 80% of these shacks are either bars or brothels.
Some of these girls, literally selling themselves for a few grains of gold, are as young as 11. Very few of them are more than 16. They also tell us that there are between 60 and 80 unsolved murders in this place every month. They're unsolved mainly because the police don't even attempt to find the killers. Then again, gold rushes spawn wild places like this one. Monday morning and it's back to work, and the pit is no place to be if you've got a hangover. They call these ladders adios mama. One slip and your history. No one knows exactly how many people have died in this frantic scramble for riches, but just a few months ago, 17 garimperos were killed in an avalanche in one day. But even the threat of violent death can't stop the garimperos or put the brake on the gold rush itself. They may be slaves today, but they dream of freedom and fortune tomorrow.